This is the Live Well and Thrive podcast, hosted by Michael Torsha, health and wellness expert. It's time to shape up, America.
Hi, this is Mike Torsha, and welcome to Live Well and Thrive. I have a very special guest, Jay Spall. He's a visionary biochemist that has the most cutting-edge technology that's going to blow your mind. You can feel more youthful, you can feel more vibrant, and most of all, be healthier. So welcome, Jay.
Thank you very much for having me, Mike. Really appreciate it. A lovely space.
Thank you. Well, we met at Dr. Hahari's facility, and he had shared with me some of the things you were working on, and then you actually shared with me the technology plus the peptides and all these other great things that you're working on. What really intrigued me was that headset you talked about to help people focus on being able to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So could you share a little bit about this technology that you created?
So I'll talk about the gene therapy. I'm not the creator of the technology. I'm involved. I'm the chief revenue officer for the company.
Okay.
It's called Mini Circle. We're a small group of, we're all scientists. You know, I'm more on the biz dev side, but I took part in the early trials. It's an amazing technology, and I think give you a very brief overview of it, right? Most people these days are familiar with peptides. Peptides are very effective. Insulin is an old school peptide, right? So you're familiar with insulin for diabetic people, sends a signal to, modulate your blood glucose for people who can't do it effectively, diabetic people, right? So there's other peptides signaling, these are the signaling molecules in your body to do a variety of tasks. So one of these most amazing peptides in the longevity side of this space, right, is called follistatin. And follistatin is absolutely magical. It is one of the most researched compounds on the planet for almost a quarter century now. The problem with it is it's not very feasible to consume. You can't take it orally. You have to inject it. It has a very short half-life. So you're injecting it, 4 or 5 times a day, and you still can't maintain steady plasma levels for it. So that's in a nutshell, and I'll tell you now how this technology solved the problem. But maybe let me segue into the benefits of it to get everybody excited about it. So follistatin gives you more muscle mass. You retain the muscle mass. You also lose the fat. And all of this is happening at the same time, which is very rare. Bodybuilders are aware of this, that they have to consume or partake in anabolics, right, to kind of have this recomposition effect. Otherwise, it's very challenging to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. So these are 3 big effects of it. You also have more cardiovascular endurance or stamina. You have more energy. It's highly anti-inflammatory, which is probably my favorite effect of follistatin. And I'll give you an example of it. So follistatin does not directly give you a cognitive boost or a cognitive incline. But if somebody has a cognitive decline, it's most likely coming from inflammation in the brain, right? Brain fog. So now they do follistatin, all of a sudden the inflammation drops, you have a brain boost, right? So there's a whole host and cascade of benefits that one can get from just reduction in inflammation that you can't even trace, right? So highly anti-inflammatory. Another, in the other bucket of effects that you can't per se feel, but you can clock on a lab test, on a blood test or DEXA scan, that would be your biological age drops. And on average, the biological age drops by 10 years. And, in the older individuals, 60 to 80 years old, it can be upwards of 12, 14, 16 years biological age dropping.
But how long a period after using this peptide can someone reduce their age?
Great question. In our data, in the studies, 6 months after they have used this, their age drops. So it's dropping gradually, right? But at 6 months to 12-month period, you can clock in or record the peak effects of it.
So how is it taken? Is it every day, twice a day? How is this taken?
Yeah, that's the next section. Great question. So initially, I brought up the big issue with follistatin, that it's not feasible to take, right? So what this gene therapy has done via plasmid vectors is you take one shot and it lasts 2 years. And what it's doing, the OG gene therapy was interesting. So we have chromosomes, genes, DNA, right? Old school way of doing gene therapy would be we go in Mike's DNA and we edit or modify a small portion of it, a portion of our interest, right? But now it's modified forever. What this gene, and that's a problem. We don't know if I don't know if I want my genes edited or modified, forever and without like any reversibility. So what this technology did, it solved that problem as well. So it lasts 2 years. Inject a plasmid in you, small volume, 0.4, 0.6 cc's, right? Intramuscular or subcutaneous, very easy.
And it's systematic.
Yeah. So let's, for example, for camera's sake, let's say if you injected it here, right? You would have the plasmid here, and this is where you'll be making more follistatin, and it becomes systematic. So it's local yet systematic because it spreads in your body. And with this way, you can maintain steady plasma levels and get all the benefits of follistatin without having to inject it, multiple times in a day.
So you created a compound which allows it to be a time-released variation of it.
Yeah, so I think an easy way to look at that is we did not create follistatin. We are indeed standing on the shoulders of giants in this company, right? Like, this is a very well-known peptide that people around the world have researched, right? What we're responsible for at MiniCircle is creating the technology that solves the delivery problem. And, it solves the problem in multiple facets. One is you don't have to inject it, right? Even if you're injecting it, you're getting exogenous follistatin. With this, your body has a code now in there, so your body is naturally making its own more biological follistatin.
So do you make it custom for each individual, or one formula is for everybody?
Yeah, another great question. It is standardized per our research. We have a standardized dose now where pretty much anybody can take that dose and land in the sweet spot and have 100% success rate.
So you could, I don't know if you can say legally, but talking between us now, if someone was taking this follistatin,
Yeah.
and within 6-9 weeks you could start to see and feel significant changes, will they have a more muscular, leaner, more vibrant, more vitality from this?
Yes, absolutely.
As long as they're eating correctly and exercising, correct?
Absolutely.
You have to have that too.
Yeah. Look, the big thing is, even if there's people out there that are, not taking care of their health, not working out, not eating. If that individual does follistatin, the reality is their health is still going to improve and they're still going to notice it. The difference that I have seen with the consumers around me, my whole family's on it. Our 100% of our staff, our whole team is on it, which is rare, right? For a company where you're making a product and everybody's a consumer of it, right? So there's a lot of intimate data that I think I have beyond even the study or the trials. And one big thing I noticed in the realm that you brought up is individuals who are exercising, they're actually continuously testing themselves, right? If you're working out, you know how your performance is in a certain exercise, you know the weight you're using. So mentally, you're going to feel the effect way more because you're going to see your performance go up, right? And if you are somebody who's working out, you're also keeping a track on how you're looking, right? So in general, you do feel this vitality, and that's a hard one to describe. Like, how are you feeling vital? But it's a combination. If you're stronger, you have larger muscles, you have lower fat content, you have more energy, you have less inflammation in the body. All those effects compounded together will ultimately lead you into feeling younger, right?
Well, there are several hormone specialists just here in California that are doing these peptide cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their patients take a shot in the morning and a shot before they go to bed. They do a combination of the ipamorelin, the BPC 157, and a few others, and a little of the IGF LR3, and they're charging people anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 a month. But what I've noticed, the people that I've seen using it, that they will retain a tremendous amount of water. And then they also, their fingers, they start to have this burning, tingling feeling from it. And I just said, man, there's got to be a different way of doing that. I mean, I could see that maybe you want to be leaner, more muscular, but if your hands are on fire, how are you going to sleep at night?
Yeah.
And then also, they're putting all these different combinations in there of things that I don't know if they're truly tested. I like the fact that there's one recognized peptide that has proven fact works, and there's not all these other items in there that are probably causing other side effects, because I know that's one of the side effects of the growth hormone is the burning and tingling and losing the sensation in the hands. So I was just curious, is this the only peptide you use because it's proven studies and that's all you need? Or do you think there will be a time when you might blend in some other peptides like the BPC 157? Do you think you'll end up doing a cocktail, or you don't need to do that?
Yeah, I'll sneak your listeners some information a little bit private, secret. But yes, we are working on a multitude of new gene therapies. The two big ones, the next ones, are going to be the LH plasmid. LH is luteinizing hormone, and I'll get into each one of those. And the next one, the other one is going to be Klothos. So first on LH. LH are going to be a really big one, a game changer, because most males, as you know, late 30s sometimes, most certainly 40s, and almost dead certainly in their 50s, executives, professionals, were on TRT. That's just the reality of it. And it was kind of like a hidden subject that we didn't talk about, but it's very openly talked about, right, in most of the spheres. So for that, you got to take your testosterone injection once a week, right?
Right.
It's a literal pain in the ass, if I may, right? So the LH plasmid, or the gene therapy, is you take the shot, it ups the signal, luteinizing hormone, in your brain, which is kind of higher up in the chain. So you got luteinizing hormone and then other hormones in the bottom. If you up the LH, your body biologically will make more testosterone. So a shot every, what we're doing, we're going to be starting our formal trials very, very soon. I'm very fortunate and blessed that I will be partaking in the trials.
Right.
But yeah, that's happening very near future. But that's going to be a game changer.
So I know the range could be anywhere from 600 to 900 for testosterone level. So how do you know what that's the right amount to take for each individual? Is it vary?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's part of the investigation and the study is what amount of this, the plasmid, right, or the code in you, and I don't want to use the scientific terms incorrectly here, but that's the whole process, is to measure the dose and what kind of response each individual will have with it, right? So, and then after that, there will probably be a process where we'll standardize the dose on it, but don't have 100% exact clarity on that process, but it will be resolved quite soon.
Well, I would think probably if someone has a very low level of testosterone, they're going to need a little bit more of the medication, correct?
Yeah, I think a good way of looking at it is if you up the LH in somebody, right, your body is going to fall in the right range on its own. Right?
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so LH is already existing in your body. LH, FSH, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, right? When somebody does TRT, the two levels, a lot of levels shift in your body, but LH and FSH automatically drop, in most cases, down to 0.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't want to speak out of turn as a scientist on this, on the exact research, but I'm for the moment, under the assumption that if you were to up the LH levels to its optimal range, you're going to fall in the optimal testosterone level range.
Okay, so say, for instance, someone was on testosterone. Can they immediately stop the testosterone, or they have to gradually go off of it if they would start to do your program?
Yeah, if they up their levels of LH, right, one should be able to get off of testosterone.
Immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if they stay onto this program, how long would it take where they could probably feel, like you said, 10 years younger? Is it a 6 months, 9 months, year?
Yeah, so that will be the FST, the first product, right, which is available now. You can go and get the treatment in Honduras. So that's the first treatment where you feel that's about 6 month mark, uh, is when you start feeling those effects at the peak. Look, everybody's different. I've worked with people that feel the effects within an hour. There's other individuals that it takes them 1 to 2 days to feel it. My girlfriend, it took her 2 days and she was feeling the effects. It took me about a week to feel the effects. There's other individuals where a month passes by and finally the effects start to kick in. A really good way of thinking about this is this is it might depend on somebody's brain type because the effects are happening in the body, right? But how in tune and how much you gauge these things is going to determine how rapidly you're feeling the effects.
So all this will be able to do in the U.S.
No. U.S. is, as you've had guests regarding stem cells,
Yeah.
this whole sector of advanced medicine, regenerative medicine, gene therapy, a lot of the Western countries they move very slow. Compliance, red tape. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but that's just the nature of it, right? And gene therapy falls in the category right after stem cells, if I may, right? Stem cells are like, advanced therapy. Gene therapy is right there with it, if not ahead of it.
So how are these doctors out here and wherever across the United States doing the peptides without having any issues with the law?
Yeah, I think that's maybe not my specialty to get into, but if you're a physician, there's ways you can conduct, your practice legally where you can get around some of these things, some of the laws.
Because I know certain states
Yeah.
allow certain peptides.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. So each practitioner has kind of figured out their channel on how to operate legally or some not so legally.
So if someone wanted to have this treatment, where would they go?
Yeah. Visit the website.
What's your website?
Yeah, minicircle.clinic is where you would sign up to do this. And minicircle.io is our other domain that you can look at all the stuff we're doing. So once you sign up on the website, you get routed, you get put in the system. You will have an intake call, right, to evaluate what's going on. Once you go through kind of the entire process, the pipeline, which is very convenient, easy, streamlined, and you get approved to get the therapy, then you get all the information and connected with the clinic, which is in Rotan right now. We have other partners as well, Eterna, Dr. Adil Khan. So we're expanding our partnerships around the world. But yes, so once you get connected to the clinic, you basically fly out and you get the shot. And there's no downtime. It's not a surgery. It's a shot, so you're in and out.
Where's the clinic?
Our main clinic right now that we're partnered with is in Rotan, Honduras. Beautiful island in Honduras, known for scuba diving. It's the Caribbean Ocean, really warm, gorgeous. Actually, you might like knowing about this, and the listeners too. Prospera is a startup city in Honduras on this island. And it's really gorgeous, and it's designed for longevity and tech people to get things through at a much faster pace in a lot more of a transparent fashion. So the island is also known as Crypto Island, aka Bitcoin Center or Bitcoin Island,
Wow.
right? So a lot of people are starting to house themselves there to be able to work on things like this. Like when I was there recently for Vitalia, there were a lot of amazing people there. Like a lot of big influencers, a lot of big investors were there scouting, doing therapies like folostat and other things that were happening there. And then a lot of talent, like raw talent that needs a platform to, launch.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Well, hypothetically, I mean, if you were to set up a clinic in Mexico, you could do it in Mexico, correct?
Yes. So one of our partners, Dr. Adil Khan, is already operating in Mexico. We have other partners in line that will be doing it in Mexico, working potentially for Costa Rica. That's on the radar. Japan, Dubai. So one by one, expanding into different countries. But yes.
Yeah, because I'm working right now with a group to set up rejuvenation centers all throughout Dubai.
Yeah.
So maybe we could talk about that because I think it'd be great to add to the menu.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the countries that you brought up, Dubai, Mexico, these are the hottest countries. Dubai, Mexico, Costa Rica, these are really kind of becoming epicenters for a lot of longevity work.
So, in your opinion, as a biochemist, if someone was to really rework their consumption of food and eat better quality food, get better quality sleep every single night, exercise daily, and went on to this peptide program, could they potentially reduce their age by 20 years genetically if they follow what I've just said? Or 10 years more?
Yeah, I would say the number is 10 years because that's the average number calculated in the studies, in the trials, right? So that's the number I probably want to stick by. Now, there's a standard deviation, and each individual is going to vary. But I think it's safer to say 10 years, which is monumental, right?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing we know that works that drastically. And, one other, I think, important thing to keep in mind is sleep, nutrition. These are the top principles I personally built my business around, which you can't have no peptide, no supplement. You can't replace nutrition, sleep, and physical activity.
Yeah.
These are that's the hallmark delta of your health, right? And then after that comes relationships, spirituality. But once you have these things dialed in, then if you want to optimize, it is crucial to tap in other modalities. The folstatin levels drop with age. If you're making folstatin, right, which some people are, some people aren't, but regardless, they're going to drop. So it's a hallmark to get that addressed in your health. It's going to be monumental and a big game changer.
I tell you, I'm blown away. This is absolutely amazing. So, and what would something like this cost, roughly?
Yes, 25,000 for the one shot that lasts 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's the sphere you're operating in. Most people really don't. They have financial flexibility and bandwidth because it's an optimization realm, right? But the reality is, I talk to a lot of everyday consumers. The reality is, as you said, there's these doctors and clinics in LA, in every metropolitan city that are doing these peptide programs. If you look at it that way, that you're investing thousands of dollars on a monthly basis, even if it's hundreds of dollars on a monthly basis, it adds up. It actually ends up being more cost effective to do the one shot and not have to deal with supplies or take continuous risk on this. You brought up a great point about the quality. I've consulted for numerous peptide companies. As you know, a lot of my background was in quality control, analyzing chemicals, peptides, just a lot of other biologicals. And in the process, while I was consulting for a lot of these firms, research peptide companies, man, the COAs and the results sometimes that would go by my desk were amazing. I'm saying in a bad way, that some of these doctors' clinics were selling NAD that was testing out at 60, 75% purity, which is absolutely not acceptable, So kudos to a lot of physician doctors and certain suppliers that are doing a good job and really, testing the quality and providing a good product. But a lot of times the clinics and doctors are not equipped to deal with these research compounds, right? So it's very risky, in my opinion, to just pick a clinic that's supplying peptide cocktails. So from many of these aspects, it becomes a lot more safe, cost feasible to actually just make the investment and go do the gene therapy. And by the way, we are 10x cheaper than the next gene therapy that's in the market that doesn't have the safety profile that we possess.
So if someone, say, wanted to go to Costa Rica or one of these places to have this treatment, it'll be the $25,000 just for that injection. They have to do the airfare, the hotel, and all that other stuff on top of that.
Correct.
Right. Do they have to arrange that, or do they call your people and you can set it
Yeah,
up?
super easy process. I think the easiest thing is once you sign up on the website, right? You pay a deposit for a consulting fee, like a $250 deposit. Once you do that, after that, everything is pretty streamlined. Once the person has a call, right? After that, everything gets sorted out. Once you get connected to the clinic, all the hotel information,
Right.
the contacts are forwarded, and everything gets coordinated quite easily. Even the payments, you can make the payment with crypto. Just it's all very easy after that. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a resort that you go to in Rotan. You get full VIP treatment. They got like 50 pool. I don't know, just making that number up, but there's a pool like every spot. Every
I
other
can imagine,
corner there.
yeah. It's like paradise.
It's like paradise. I think I spent an hour in the ocean, and I overheated because the water was so warm, which is
Yeah.
very rare for us to even imagine living in California, right?
Well, I like the way you described it because it's almost like you're going somewhere like Fantasy Island, like it's the fountain of youth. Because if you go to a beautiful exotic island with the water is crystal clear and blue, right?
Yeah.
And you can see the multicolored fish, unique flowers. So you kind of feel like you're in a heavenly place. So I think I kind of get it where that'd be kind of a nice feel when you go. So it's not like going to a doctor's office and getting shot and leave.
Yeah.
Spend a little time there, I think would be more euphoric psychologically, sets your mind in a better place. You went
Yes.
there for a few days, unwind, eat good food, just enjoy the beautiful weather, and then you go back after having that heavenly experience. So now you're associating with this beautiful experience while getting some incredible peptide that could help heal your body and feel 10 years younger, right?
Absolutely. You're bringing up a very important point that's very near and dear to a lot of our hearts. The entire executive team, our CEO, Mac Davis, is a brilliant guy. What you're referring to is like a transformative experience, right? Like you're not showing up just for, a therapy, but if the whole process, the location, the geographic, right, the staff is in a way that you feel rejuvenated, right? Like our mission as individuals and as a team at Mini Circle is to create these experiences, expand on them, right? Like involve other modalities, create centers around the world where you're not just coming in for gene therapy. You're coming in for gene therapy. You're doing a multitude of other upgrades, IVs, medicines to just become renewed, refreshed, and revamped to come to the world. So a lot of this is in works on a daily basis around the world. And
I think you bundle it. I think you have something sensational because all those other modalities, yoga, meditation, going for hikes and lectures and maybe some creative food preparation, you're putting them through like a crash course of how to create a healthier lifestyle. At the same time, they're getting the shot. So it's not like, oh, I'm paying $25,000 for the shot. I went for this incredible transformation weekend. It was just 3 days of heaven or 5 days of heaven, right? And you become more centered. Your whole mindset's shifted. It's not just that shot, but your whole mindset is shifted because, as you know, for people to change their lifestyle, they have to be able to change the diet, make sure they're putting, like my attitude, it's like Jack Lane's attitude. I'm only putting anything in my body that adds value.
Yeah.
If it doesn't add value, it's not going in my mouth. Okay. So if I went somewhere and I had this beautiful euphoric experience, it puts me in a mindset to be more willing to listen to the lifestyle changes because everybody else seems happy. I'm in happy land. I got to do this when I get home. I need to meditate. I need to do yoga. I need to do some exercises to stimulate my heart and lungs. I can't just rely on this and then every 2 years I get a shot. No, I need to do it all. So I think bundling it probably really more appealing.
Yeah, well said. I almost want to use a metaphorical example here. I think you're talking about integration. People do a lot of plant medicines, ayahuasca, iboga, mushroom ceremonies, what have you. And a lot of the big, not downside, but thing that's missing in that space is integration therapy. People have these profound experiences, epiphanies, but if you're not integrating, right, then you have this afterglow and this positive effect for X amount of time, then that just goes away. But if you can integrate it via therapy, journaling, a variety of ways, right, then it's going to impact a much larger, for a longer duration. And I think you're talking about the same thing. If you just do if you bundle and compound these things with, positive other life behaviors, right, and just in general attitude, then the effects are just more pronounced. And I have seen that with Folstatin is people who are already checking off other boxes and doing positive activities, their results are larger and greater.
I would think it'd be astronomical. Like, for instance, Harari's transformational healing universe. It is a healing universe. You've got the red light bed. You got the shockwave stem cell, hyperbaric chamber. You have all these the EMS machine. When you leave his place, I feel like I've just laid on a cloud and I've been in heaven. And I go home and I drive it home. It's very slow and steady. I'm not driving like a madman, even though it's 5 o'clock and rush hour traffic. I'm letting them go ahead of me. But I really feel euphoric.
Yeah.
So it's a mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritual experience.
Yeah.
So I would think that if people would have come to one of your places and had everything umbrellaed into that experience, your whole mindset is, I got to do this when I get home.
Yeah.
I'm going to make better choices for eating. I'm going to make time to exercise. I'm going to focus on getting to bed early and focusing on staying off the phone or watching TV or whatever it is. So I think if you bundle it like that, people are going to get much better results. They're going to tell the world how you changed their life, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. I think that's brilliant what you're doing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I ran into Harhari right outside a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And this is the exact conversation we were having, One thing I think I can share from my experience that a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, colleagues, family have found very helpful is, I want the listeners to be able to take something away that they can apply now, not just like they need to sign up or invest $25K, right?
Right.
One big thing that's been very useful for me is when you're trying to incorporate new positive habits for your health, a really good way is to mentally start focusing on, if I want sleep, right? And I'm at war with myself every night in attempts to go to sleep. So what I do is I start preparing for my sleep, the next night's sleep, almost a day before. And if I want to maintain a morning routine, and it's a tough routine, and sometimes I can't maintain it, I start preparing for my morning routine the night before or the day before, like having my clothes ready, having my ingredients prepped, having my supplements sorted out. So this has been very big, very helpful for a lot of the people that I worked with, is just moving the time back a little bit, that, okay, this is what you're having a struggle with. Let's just let's at least start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it and you might fail the next day. But if you do this there's other tricks like habit stacking and all that, right? But just our brain is the most fascinating friend, but also the enemy. So it's almost like you have to play a game with yourself. Seed an idea in your brain that you want to accomplish, and then water it. Yeah. And eventually it's going to sprout.
Yeah, it's going to manifest.
Yeah.
I use time blocking.
Yeah.
It is the most incredible, most powerful tool anybody can use to get anything done, whether it's to improve the quality of your health, your business, or even spiritually. Because when you block out the time to do specific things, your whole life changes because you get the shit done.
Yeah.
And that's how I do my time blocking the night before. I exactly know what time those calls are. I'm going to do those emails. That I'm going to do my workout, my lunch meeting, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that I get everything done that I've put into that schedule. I've been doing this for many years. Also, I had a lot of times there was so much on my mind, I wasn't getting enough sleep and quality sleep. So I read an article many years ago about Thomas Edison and George Washington, a few other great leaders, where if Thomas Edison, for instance, if he had gone to a party or whatever, he'd bring a pillow and a blanket. And he always felt that when you're tired, you go to sleep. But only go to sleep when you're tired. So I started doing that. And I got to tell you something. I religiously get to sleep no later than 12 midnight. I religiously get up at 7 o'clock. And every time I get up, I walk into the bathroom, it's 7 o'clock. I prepared my mind for it. I start to feel tired. If I feel that I'm tired at 11 o'clock, I go to sleep at 11 o'clock, but I still get up at 7. I started training my body like that. I also focus on some of the things that I want to dream about. I'm actually being able to manifest dreams.
Yeah.
So I use the same approach towards my body, being 68 years old, and being able to keep a lean, fit, physical body. And condition-wise, I said, now let me apply it to my sleeping issue. And I did, and I can now say that I don't take any pills before I go to sleep. I go to sleep. I have a deep REM sleep. I wake up feeling vibrant and great. But I, like you, I had to find a process that works for me.
Yeah.
You have the process. I have this process. But what has worked for me is that I have really great sleep. And most people at my age have shitty sleep. They say, Mike, I fall asleep, but then all night I keep waking up. I just can't get that full night deep sleep like when I was younger. I said, well, let's roll it back. Let's try to figure out what's causing this, and let's adjust and figure out a way to work. And I've been working with people, not giving them any crazy supplements or whatever. I've been giving them the tools, and they figured it out. And I'm getting emails and calls and say, Mike, I slept 7 hours. I slept 8 hours. I slept 6 hours, but I feel great. I go, don't think about the number. It's the quality of the sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So I just want to say that I'm totally digging what you're doing, and I can't wait to check this out myself. I am definitely going to do this and go to that beautiful paradise, fantasy island, whatever you want to call it, and experience. So I want to tell you that I look forward to the experience with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. That was golden insight that you shared that I wish and hope people will listen to, because sleep is crucial.
It is. Maybe when people come to your kind of getaway, you have people talk about these things. Little gifts you're giving them. That's what it is, a gift. Because if they listen to it and do it, their whole life will change, because you know what it's like when you have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I love, I'm so deep in the biohacking sector, for decade now, peptides and gene therapies and IVs and supplementation and analogs of different sorts and brain enhancement, that whenever I'm speaking to people about this, I do love balancing the conversation with things that are non-negotiable, right? Like sleep, nutrition, because, sometimes things can get out of scale, or scale can get imbalanced. Us talking about biohacking and people just forgetting that, no, you need the nutrition, the right nutrition, and sleep as some of your crucial thing. And then physical, you look like a very fit guy.
Thanks.
I'm imagining you have a good physical activity routine as well.
I train like a warrior. Every time I go into the gym, I can't wait to step in the gym and work out. It's a different mindset. I could hear people saying, oh, God, I could do legs today. If I had to do legs, I'm going to be excited to do legs. Because anything that makes my body feel good is my best friend. And same thing when I eat a certain food. I know when I eat that food, that beautiful salad, my father used to use the word to my mother, make a happy salad. Lots of color.
Yeah.
But that's the best way, because all the different nutrients, right? So when I have a salad, it's got everything from the avocado to the peppers, red and green, and pickles, and you name it, just everything in there. Just add beautiful flavor. And I use like olive oil and balsamic vinegar or red wine vinegar. I have a nice piece of fish or red meat. If I feel like I need carbs, I ingest baked potato or yam or rice or whatever it is. But I listen to my body.
Yeah.
I don't do it because my advisor said I should eat this yam and I should eat this much. If I don't feel as hungry, I eat less protein, less vegetable, less carbohydrate. So I listen to my body. And I think that's the biggest thing I could give anybody advice is listen to your own body.
Absolutely.
It'll tell you what you need.
Yeah, Mike, that's golden. I believe in our in the West, there is a big disconnect on this subject, and it is now finally slowly gaining recognition in the traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurveda and Eastern philosophy, medicine, culture. This concept was very prominent and very large, where you had to have a relationship with your body. You listened to your body. But in the West, we became very pharma, monocompound, very, food pyramid, machine oil, seed oil, vegetable oil. We kind of fell into that, and we really lost connection with information that we possessed for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. It was just lost. So it's great that platforms like this and other people who are really starting to spread this information. But yeah, look, you have the best and the most exclusive executive elite health coach that you can access. That's your body, right? If you can develop that relationship with your body and learn what your body is telling you, you have the number one coach. A gut feeling, right? Everybody's talking about it. Like, your gut will never lead you astray. It's brighter than just about anything else. It will send you a signal, right?
Yeah, it's so true.
But if you're out of tune, you're never going to pick that signal up.
Nope.
And meditation and these other modalities will tune that in.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate all your wonderful advice, and I look forward to trying out all the wonderful peptides and things that you offer. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Mike.
You're welcome. I just want to thank everybody for watching the show. I would truly appreciate it if you can subscribe. We need your support. Thank you. That was fun, Jay.
Yeah.
I just want them to take pictures of us at the desk.